Are you saying race or gender played a role in this tragedy?
It may have. I don't know. Incompetence might have played a role. We'll let you know that. But we want the most competent people. We don't care what race they are. We want the most competent people, especially in those positions. And, you're talking about extremely complex things. And if they don't have a great brain, a great power of the brain, they're not going to be very good at what they do, and bad things will happen.
Now people are taking a closer look at the FAA's hiring practices, particularly their DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion-focused hiring practices. The FAA has gone out of its way to include people with different abilities, but also people with intellectual and psychiatric challenges too, which is giving some people pause. The FAA writes of their diversity, equity, inclusion-focused hiring this, quote, targeted disabilities are those disabilities that the federal government, as a matter of policy, has identified for special emphasis in recruitment and hiring. They include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism. The agency also boasts that for some of these people, managers can hire them, quote, on the spot if they have proper documentation. The FAA has been defending their diverse workforce, telling Fox in a statement this: the FAA employs tens of thousands of people for a wide range of positions. The agency proactively seeks qualified candidates from as many sources as possible, all of whom must meet rigorous qualifications that, of course, will vary by position.
Yeah, we got to talk about DEI, as you just heard a little bit there. Now that's crazy. I'm not saying people who have a disability shouldn't be able to have an occupation if they so choose. But if that's what you're looking for, like, what? It's just absolutely crazy. But I want to get into this clip from CNN and Abby Phillips, okay? Because Frank Luntz, who, some of you guys know Frank Luntz. We've talked about Frank Luntz before, the pollster. He actually tried to save Democrats. He went on CNN and he legitimately tried to save them. And I'm sure you can guess how it went. With that being said, let's dive in.
Because of Donald Trump's own doing, we're having to have this conversation about DEI. DEI, for many people, and I call them the woke right, it has become a stand-in for being black and unqualified. And what I would like for the Trump administration to do, Susie Wiles, I love her, never met her, want to meet her one day. I want them to ask the team, what was our message coming out of this week? And if they say that they felt as if it was successful, then we're going to have a very long 4 years.
Can I make a provocative argument here? What if Donald Trump also won because of the people who think that black people and trans people and women are taking things that belong to them? Isn't it possible that he actually won for that reason, and that they don't think that this is a messaging, change of course, but this
it
is
doesn't
the,
represent
this is the
the
course.
majority of those.
But they could very well think that this is the course that they are supposed to be on.
Yes, I think this is what economic anxiety has sometimes been euphemized to refer to, that people feel like they're losing their status in society and maybe their ability to climb up the socioeconomic ladder, and the easy scapegoat is the black and brown and people and women who are...
It's not even about being a scapegoat. It's just the truth. You guys told us that you want DEI. You want diversity, equity, and inclusion. Meaning, you're not necessarily hiring the most qualified person. That's all we care about. Hire the most qualified person. I don't care if that person is white, black, blue, purple, tall, short, fat, skinny, gay, straight, don't matter. Hire the most qualified person. It is that simple. It shouldn't matter what that person's skin color is. It shouldn't matter who that person chooses to go home and lay next to. It shouldn't matter. None of that should matter. Are they qualified, and are they the most qualified to do the job? It should be that simple. That simple. Literally that simple. But they can't do that. They can't do that. Absolutely not. And when we say we're done with that, then we're automatically considered racist, because we say, no, we're not just going to hire black people simply because they're black. We're not going to hire, Mexicans simply because they're Mexicans. We're not going to hire any minority simply because they're a minority. Now, if a minority comes and they're the most qualified individual, yes, absolutely. Come on in. Let's get this job done. You're highly qualified. You're the most qualified out of all the people that we've talked to. So yes, we'll hire you. But they're trying to make it sound and seem as if we're the racist ones. Kind of interesting, but hey, they can keep on with this. They'll lose again in 2028.
Are taking their place, who are robbing them of their opportunities. One thing I want to add to this discussion, besides the career effects on people of color and women and other groups, other underrepresented groups in government, among other positions, who may suffer because of the comments that Trump made about DEI causing these plane crashes, is that Trump surrounds himself with lackeys who have historically been shown that they are motivated to sort of backfill and retrofit evidence to fit whatever his predetermined conclusion is. So if we want to prevent tragedies like this from happening again, I would not trust whatever investigation they put together, because Trump has already determined that the cause of this problem is DEI. If there's something else that's lurking here that could put people at risk again, we may not find out.
I actually do. I've talked to a lot of aviation experts this week. I have confidence in the NTSB. That is a gold standard agency in this country, and honestly in the entire world of aviation. But I mean, to her point, I think there are questions about whether this is going to be a witch hunt for the evidence to support this claim. They are going to be hunting down the people who fit the DEI narrative in order to prove, oh, he was right all along.
I think I'm alone in this group. I think I'm kind of afraid to be alone in this group.
Here we go.
I surveyed these people. I focus grouped them. And they are really, really tired of being accused of either racism or sexism because they voted for Donald Trump. And it's one of the reasons why so many of them did. I sat on this stage with you and got chewed out when I suggested there's a better language to reach out to voters, that the Harris campaign is missing what they're looking for. And I say the same thing here. Americans just want to be Americans, not hyphenated Americans, not female Americans, black Americans, Jewish Americans. They just want to be Americans.
How do you think it makes people feel?
Watch what she does. Oh, everything he just said just went in one ear and out the other. She goes right back to it. Right back to it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Black people, women, any person who has immutable characteristics about themselves, to be told every time that something happens that because they exist in a particular role, it is their fault. How does it make them feel?
How does it make people feel when they're told that they're a racist?
No. I mean, answer.
But
answer.
Nobody is accusing all black people of everything being black people's fault. Now, if where you work at, if their hiring practices involve DEI, yeah, we're gonna raise an eyebrow. When you fuck up, yeah, we're gonna all raise an eyebrow. I'm gonna raise an eyebrow. You don't seem qualified, my brother. Seems like they hired you because you got the same skin color as me. You weren't the most qualified, were you? And there's nothing wrong with that. As if we shouldn't be looking at that. Especially when you're talking about people's lives. People's lives. When have you ever gone to the doctor and you needed a surgery, or you hopped on a plane, right? And you said, well, let me make sure the pilot is a minority. Never. You want to make sure that your surgeon is the most qualified, the best surgeon ever. If your surgeon came out and he was a fucking alien, as long as he was qualified and had the credentials to get the surgery done, and you knew that, you wouldn't care. I know I wouldn't. Be an alien. Don't matter to me. As long as I know that you can get the job done. Doesn't matter. When you hop on a plane, do you check and see, is the pilot a minority? Do you ask? No. Nobody cares. We don't give a shit about that. Can you fly this thing and get me to where I'm going safely? It's all that matters. All that matters.
Answer my question.
I am, because these are predetermined considerations.
Why don't you answer his question?
You're telling me I'm calling.
Do you want an answer?
Well, you're not answering my question. You're telling me.
Yes, I'm trying to.
You were telling me
Actually,
that
your response is in bad faith. I mean, what she is saying is something you're not responding to because it doesn't address why Donald Trump immediately went to DEI as an explanation without any evidence whatsoever for what looks to be an
Because that's FAA's hiring practice.
inexcusable
Golly.
and certainly a very devastating and tragic plane and helicopter crash a couple of days ago. And instead, you pivot to talking about how terrible it is that some people who voted for Donald Trump are being called racist and sexist. You're refusing to grapple with the central tension.
My understanding,
Frank, it's an
because-
option.
Hold on.
Frank, it's an
because
option
my
for
understanding is of the voter.
Frank,
that is what I do.
it is
I'm
an
opposed-
option
What about
for
the immorality and the incompetence
Frank,
of
it's an
blaming
option for
DEI
Donald
for what
Trump
happened?
You guys can all jump on me. That's
No,
fine.
I'm not jumping on you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, okay? Look, it is an option for Donald Trump to respect his voters and not scapegoat race in a situation like that. He chooses not to every time. Why?
He is saying, and I do not defend him, and I've not defended him on this program, because there are things that are more important than Republican and Democrat, and it's why some people lost primaries, and some people are not members of Congress anymore, and trying to...
Look at his face! He was taking a shot directly at him. Oh, man, I love that. I love that. And he said it so calmly. Literally, this man is out of Congress. Look at his face. Oh, man, that is hilarious. Look, he knew exactly who he was talking about. Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. I love it. I love it.
Tell you the truth.
Well, look, you don't have to listen. I
Hold
just
on,
won my
Mondare, hold
primary,
on,
but you
let me
don't have to lecture
Mondare,
me.
hold on,
Would you let me
Mondare. Let me let him
I
finish.
mean, if you're gonna throw shots, I'm just
Mondare, just a second. Let me let him finish.
This is why this show is such a challenge for me, because I really am, and I've been on this show and criticized him many times. I've been on the show and praised him. In the end, how do we get beyond how we look? How do we get beyond how we sound? Because in the end, we all have a right to a point of view, and I respect yours, regardless.
I just
whether
don't respect the gaslighting and the bad faith conversation.
I
That's all.
also think you cannot talk about getting beyond all of those things, race, hyphens, whatever it is, when at the highest offices of the land, you have someone saying, because there is diversity, there is a lack of merit, there is a lack of quality, there is a lack of experience. That is a racist view, that people who have characteristics that they cannot change about them, that don't tell you anything about their intellect, about their experience, are by definition not experienced. Do you understand that?
I do, because I listen to this, I hear this, and I internalize it. And for those who feel like they're being marginalized, we have to do more. I agree with you.
It's not even just about being marginalized. It's just about recognizing
I
that.
just said I agree with you.
I know. I'm saying, but look, I'm not
You're
trying
not
to
gonna
use
hear me.
academic. I'm not trying to use academic language to talk about this. I'm just saying that there are people. Look, a couple days ago, there was a Harvard-educated Olympic track star was told that she wasn't qualified to have gone to Harvard, that she was basically a DEI admit to Harvard.
Well, how did she get into Harvard? Have you asked that question? Did she get in because of DEI? If she did, then whoever said that was 100% correct. We have talked about this before. There are colleges who literally look at the race of an individual and to make a determination whether or not they want that individual at their college. Oh, well, we got too many Asians, or we got too many white people. We need some black people here. We've seen this before. So if she got there because some administrator, some admin said, well, we need more black people, then yes. That guy or gal who said that she wasn't qualified was 100% correct. 100% correct. She did not earn that position. It's crazy that Abby Phillip, well, I know she does get it, but she's on CNN, of course, a dying network, so I don't know.
I mean, that just from a human
Yes, that's
perspective,
wrong.
that is
We
wrong.
all agree
right?
that's wrong.
May I ask you a question
We
about
all
this?
agree with that, but there's nothing I can say to you on this panel, for any of you, that's going to satisfy
No.
you.
May I ask you a question about
And that's
this?
the problem.
So you're saying Americans felt alienated by the way Democrats talked about
And
some of these things.
yes.
Okay, but do you think that this is the antidote? I think that's the question here. I mean, you can be critical of terms that Democrats have used, but it's not clear to me how this approach is better. In fact, it seems exponentially worse to be scapegoating, whether it's hyphenated Americans or otherwise, any group of Americans for this tragedy, to be purging government data from websites under the guise of DEI and rooting out wokeness.
He actually didn't call out any one race of individual. He said DEI. So, yeah, I agree. And obviously, a majority of Americans agree. That's why he's the president. He's been talking like this the entire campaign. We all heard this. We all heard it. Listen, I got some good news for y'all. 2028, it's looking real damn promising, baby. These fools have not learned their lesson. They haven't learned. They have not learned. We are not racist. We don't hate people of color. I'm black myself. I know Joe Biden would say that I'm not black because I didn't vote for him, which they had no problem with him saying that. But if Trump said that, they'd still be talking about it to this day. You probably would have heard them talk about it in this segment right here. But since Joe Biden said it, we just sweep it under the rug. Since Joe Biden said, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black, it's okay. Because it's Joe. It's Joe. He's a Democrat. He's a Democrat. It's okay. We are not racist. We care about hiring and having the most qualified people in all positions in life. If you're qualified, you should be able to get into Harvard. If you're qualified, you should work at this job or that job, this high, you should be this executive or that executive or whatever, if you're qualified. But your skin color, your gender, who you choose to sleep next to at night should have nothing to do with it. I don't care if an organization was all black. If all those black people were qualified the same way every other race was qualified and their skin color had nothing to do with them being hired, let's go. Let's go. Come on. I would cheer for that. I'd make a video on it. Like, let's go. Like, this is beautiful. Qualified folks. If there was a company, hell, we're talking about the FAA. If the FAA was all women, right? All women, top to bottom, and all of them were extremely qualified. They were the most qualified candidates that they could possibly find, and their gender had nothing to do with why they were hired. Let's go. I don't give a shit. I don't care. And I'm sure all of you feel the exact same way. And that's what Frank Luntz is trying to tell these folks, and it's just in one ear and out the other. He's like, bro, they aren't racist. They don't hate anybody. And that just, goodness gracious, man. Hey, midterms and 2028 are looking phenomenal. Phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to expand our majority in 2026. I think it's going to be expanded. In 2028, you know what would actually be funny, and I'm gonna let y'all get out of here. In 2028, if we had somebody like Candace Owens that was our nominee, and we actually elected her, a black woman that's actually qualified, right? Someone who's extremely intelligent, right? Not somebody like Kamala, who, well, I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna spare y'all. Y'all probably knew where I was about to go, but yeah, man. Frank Luntz tried to tell them, they ain't listening. So 2026, 2028, it's gonna be some good years, baby. But we're not going to sit back and relax. We're gonna keep the pedal pushed all the way down to the metal, baby. It's all gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. We are not letting off the gas. You got people like, golly, I can't think of his name now. The goodness gracious. I just was looking at his profile too, or just retweeted something that he had posted too. Oh, goodness gracious. What is his name? Now, why am I drawing a blank on it? Scott Pressler. You got someone like Scott Presler, who, since the election happened, has not taken his foot off the gas. And I love seeing that. If you want to get involved, Scott Presler is a guy that can get you there, right? Actually just retweeted one of his tweets. So if you want to find his profile, just go to my X account and you will see it. It's the last thing that I posted. So get in contact with him. He will direct you wherever you need to go to expand our majority, which I definitely want to see. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.